My name is Emily. I'm a 44-year-old part-time working housewife. I live with my husband, George, just the two of us. We have a son, but he recently started living on his own in the city after getting into university. It's been a while since it's been just my husband and me, but at 44 and 50 years old, it feels a bit embarrassing to think about reliving our newlywed days. Besides, both my husband and I are too busy with work to have time for such things. My husband, in the prime of his career at 50, is always bustling about. And I'm busy supporting the employees behind the scenes with cleaning and preparing lunches. The young employees always thank me, saying things like, "We really appreciate it, Emily," and "Your cooking is the best." Even though our son has left, these young employees have become like sons to me. I had resolved to continue supporting them tirelessly in my behind-the-scenes role. I have an older brother, Jack, who's a year older than me. To be honest, he's not very good-looking, so I thought he had given up on marriage. But suddenly, he announced he's getting married. And his bride-to-be is 17 years younger than him, only 28 years old. Her name is Harper. She's a nightclub hostess, and that's where she met my brother. Seriously? When I went back home and talked to my brother, I found out the marriage was largely due to her persistence. After her confession, they started dating, and with her relentless pursuit, they decided to marry in just 3 months. It's probably because she heard about his stable job at a well-regarded local company. But when I heard more about it, I was shocked. It turns out she's already pregnant. Seriously? I couldn't believe my brother was having a shotgun wedding with a nightclub hostess 17 years his junior. It was completely unexpected. Whoa, are you sure about this? You're not being deceived? I blurted out, which made my brother angry. Don't say such rude things. Do you really think she's that kind of person? You don't even know her. She's like a delicate wildflower, not a withering old lady like you. A nightclub hostess, a delicate wildflower? Even though I doubted it, I realized I might have been rude to talk that way about someone I hadn't even met. Sorry. Don't be so angry. I was wrong to say that. My brother calmed down after my apology. But in hindsight, that apology might have been completely unnecessary. Because it turned out that my brother's partner was not a delicate wildflower, but rather a dangerous poisonous flower. We had to hurry with the wedding because of the pregnancy, so a family meeting was quickly arranged. My husband couldn't make it due to scheduling conflicts, but I thought it was fine since he could meet her later. I didn't mind going alone, thinking that was enough. However, at the family meeting, I immediately regretted my husband's absence. It all started with my gloves. "What happened to your hand?" My mother asked when she noticed I was eating with my gloves on. Well, when I was cleaning the company restroom, I forgot I had cleaner on my hands, and they got terribly irritated. The dermatologist said it was a chemical burn. My mother sympathized deeply. Oh, poor thing. Industrial cleaners are strong, aren't they? It's my fault, really. I just let my guard down and forgot to wear rubber gloves. I'm currently undergoing treatment, but it looks bad, so I'm keeping my gloves on today. Sorry about that. I apologized to everyone in the room. Then, Harper, who would soon become my brother's wife, suddenly started looking down on me. Ew, toilet cleaning? Why would you do such a dirty job? Unbelievable. What? Her comment left me speechless. I can't even clean my own house's toilet because it's too filthy, let alone a company's toilet used by many people. Isn't that a janitor's job? Well, but... I was flustered, not knowing how to respond. But keeping the restrooms clean is important for the staff to work comfortably, and the catering too. Huh? You do the catering as well? Isn't that like being a housekeeper? Unbelievable. Your brother works at a good company, and his sister is doing low-level jobs. What are you saying? My mother tried to argue with her, but I stopped her. Of course, I wanted to respond, but I didn't want to cause any issues, especially since my brother, now in his 40s, had finally found a wife. My brother seemed not to care about such rude comments, just grinning foolishly at his 17 years younger girlfriend. I sighed. Thinking about this person becoming my sister-in-law, I wondered what the future would hold. My anxiety, first felt during the family meeting, only grew as the wedding preparations progressed. My brother planned to have the wedding at the most renowned luxury hotel in our town. Not only was the food going to be top grade, but they also piled on the options, and she planned to change her dress an astonishing 5 times. After all, I'm a young bride, and everyone wants to see me in my dresses, right? It's a shame I can't wear a tight dress because my belly is showing. Nowadays, there's a variety of maternity wedding dresses for shotgun weddings. She said this while trying on dress after dress. Indeed, her belly had started to show when she visited our home. I wondered how many months into pregnancy it takes for the belly to become noticeable. I was once pregnant myself, but it was so long ago I've forgotten. While having tea with my mother at home, I asked about the couple's wedding plans. A wedding at a luxury hotel must be quite expensive, right? Does my brother even have that much saved up? He's lived a lavish bachelor life, it doesn't seem like he saved much. Then my mother sighed. That's the thing. Harper is asking our family to help pay for the wedding. Her family can't afford to contribute. So she's turned to us. Wait, just a minute. I quickly interrupted my mother's story. Then they shouldn't have a wedding at a luxury hotel. Why not have a modest wedding within their means? Why go for a lavish ceremony when they can't even afford it themselves? According to my mother, she said something like, "Aren't you happy to have such a young bride joining the family?" It seems she believes that my brother and our family should naturally revere and pamper her simply because she's young. Regrettably, it seems my brother is completely under her control, and he's even asking for financial assistance for the wedding. I held my head in my hands. Has my brother become so infatuated with marrying a young woman that he's lost his senses? What kind of fantasy world is flourishing in his mind? Continuing with this wedding feels like not only my brother, but also our parents and myself are being dragged into a pitfall hidden among a field of delusions. Amidst my anxious feelings, the day of the wedding finally arrived. As my husband, son who returned home for the ceremony, and I were about to leave our house, the phone rang. Hello? The caller was Harper, one of the key figures of the day. She had an astonishing request for me. Today, at the wedding, I have a favor to ask you. Yes, what is it? Was she going to ask me to help at the reception, or perhaps to give a speech? No, a family member giving a speech seemed unlikely. But her request was far more unreasonable and downright disrespectful. Actually, I want you to skip the wedding today. What? I was shocked. Why should I be absent? Because, having a sister-in-law who's a part-time working housewife and a cleaner, it's just too embarrassing to introduce you. Part-time working housewife and cleaner? For some reason, she seemed to have misunderstood that I was a part-time working housewife and a cleaner. Well, actually, I tried to correct her mistake, but she wouldn't listen and continued. After all, Mr. Thompson, the president of Jack's company, is attending. Isn't that proof he's an elite employee? I can't have a part-time working housewife and cleaner sitting with us. I was increasingly confused. So, because Mr. Thompson is coming, I can't attend the wedding? That's ridiculous. What is she misunderstanding? Anger started to bubble inside me. Also, as a part-time working housewife and cleaner, you probably can't afford a decent wedding gift, right? I'm just suggesting you save money by not attending. Isn't that easier for both of us? Right, Mrs. Housewife and Cleaner? She mocked me over the phone. I see. She was thoroughly looking down on me, intending to exclude me not only from the wedding but also from her life. Then that's fine. If that's what they intend, I'll simply respond in kind. Understood. But, if I don't attend, others might not come either. Is that okay with you? She seemed to take my words as a threat. Then she suddenly flew into a rage. What are you saying? If this is a threat, find something better to say. Don't get too high and mighty, you're just a part-time working housewife and cleaner. I'm about to become the wife of an elite employee and lead a privileged life. I don't need a part-time working housewife and cleaner in the family. That's just a nuisance. Get this straight, even if I marry Jack, I won't let you act like my sister-in-law. Stay away, you loser in life. She hurled all sorts of insults at me and abruptly hung up. What? How on earth did my brother decide to marry such a woman? What's wrong? George asked while I was gripping my cell phone and sigh. Well, actually, I explained the content of the phone call to my husband. Then he suggested something unexpected. 1 hour later, my husband and I arrived at the hotel where the wedding was being held. Both of us were dressed casually. There was no point in dressing up if we weren't attending the wedding. A relative spotted us and approached with a smile. "Oh, congratulations on this occasion. Are you getting ready now? But the ceremony is about to start, isn't it?" Then my husband answered on my behalf. "Actually, we can't attend the wedding." "Really? What do you mean?" The relative was surprised by such a sudden statement. "The bride has refused my wife's attendance. It would be odd for me to attend alone, so we decided to skip it. But we didn't want rumors spreading that we skimped on the wedding gift, so we came to drop it off." Hearing my husband's explanation, the relative hurriedly started talking to other relatives. "What? Really? What are they thinking? They're not letting them attend the wedding. Emily's husband is an important businessman who has helped boost our local area." The news spread quickly, and the waiting room and lobby before the reception turned into an uproar. My husband, George, is the president of a company that promotes local traditional crafts and ships them nationwide. He employs many young artisans, constantly creating new products utilizing traditional crafts, and is always busy promoting them across the country. As a key figure in reviving a declining local industry, he's quite well known in our area. Many people in the region are involved in traditional crafts. So many of our relatives either work at my husband's company or have business dealings with it. My brother, Jack, is also one of the employees at my husband's company. It seems that Harper, the bride, hadn't realized that the company president listed on the wedding seating chart was actually my husband. Her reason for refusing me was the very president of the company, my husband. Usually, a company supervisor wouldn't be seated in the family section, but she clearly hadn't realized how naive she is. In reality, I handle the accounting at my husband's company and take care of the young artisans. Since some of them live in the company dormitory, daily meals are crucial for their health management. I voluntarily do the cleaning to support my husband in every way I can. But being looked down upon as just a cleaner would not sit well with me, my husband, or anyone around us. The commotion grew, and even guests who were already seated in the banquet hall stood up, starting to say things like, "I'm leaving. Let's get out of here." In the midst of this chaos, the bride and groom appeared, smiling. However, the atmosphere in the hall was far from celebratory. And the newly arrived couple was immediately besieged by relatives and company associates. "What are you thinking? Do you have any idea how much Mr. Thompson and his wife have done for us? Our motivation at work is all thanks to her catering. You owe it to her that you got a job at the company, and you can't even control your bride?" Facing everyone's barrage, the bride and groom started to look bewildered. Then my husband addressed the groom. "I usually don't like to interfere in private matters, but you should choose your spouse wisely. I recommend not getting married." "Huh?" My brother, unaware of the situation, was astonished. "This bride told your sister not to attend the wedding. She said it's embarrassing to have a cleaner there. Are you really going to marry such a prejudiced and unreasonable woman?" As my brother struggled to find words, the bride interrupted, "That's a lie. She's framing me. I never said that. Where's the proof I said that?" Indeed, there was no proof. I was on the phone with her, and my husband saw it, but it wasn't on speaker, and nobody else knew the content. But my husband remained calm. "I can't prove the phone call, but I can provide other evidence." "Huh? Other evidence? What could it be?" Everyone around perked up their ears. I was going to keep quiet about this, but I've been to the nightclub where the bride used to work. "What?" I glared at my husband in surprise. It was for business. My husband was flustered under my gaze. "Well, that's a story for another time." My husband continued. "I heard a rumor at that nightclub that she was involved with a married man." Why did she suddenly switch to the groom standing beside her? The bride turned pale. Could it be that she got pregnant by that man and then planned to pin the fatherhood on a new boyfriend? The surrounding crowd gasped at my husband's bombshell revelation. Could it be? Was she trying to saddle my brother with a child from another man? Then, my mother, who had been silent until now, started to speak. Actually, I didn't want to say anything because it seemed so unlikely, but when Harper came to our house before, she mentioned feeling the baby move. Usually, you start to feel fetal movements around 5 to 6 months, right? But at that time, she claimed to be only 4 months pregnant. And even now, her belly seems too big. Maybe there's a 2-month discrepancy? Her assessment was incredibly convincing. It's better not to rush into registering the marriage. At least wait until after the baby is born and have a DNA test. It's not too late. My husband advised the groom, my brother. Then Harper shouted, "Don't be ridiculous. If we do that, the truth will come out." Realizing her slip-up, she quickly covered her mouth. Unbelievable, such a joke of a woman. Enough with the mockery. I'm leaving. I can't celebrate such a marriage. I came here despite being busy. Were you trying to fool everyone? Give back the wedding gifts. What followed was an utter fiasco. Guests were angry, some demanding their gifts back, causing chaos at the reception desk. The hotel staff's screams could be heard. Relatives bombarded the bride and groom with accusations. Harper was wailing, and the groom was crying even more. After that disastrous wedding, my brother and his fiancée broke up without getting married, and she returned to being a nightclub hostess. The child in her womb was indeed from another man, not my brother. It turned out just as my husband had suspected. She confessed that her plan was to make my brother a substitute father because the real father, still married, wouldn't divorce his wife. This man, also a local, got exposed due to the town gossip, leading to a divorce lawsuit involving the nightclub hostess. My brother sued her for compensation and damages, but whether she can pay with her earnings as a hostess is doubtful. My brother needs to seriously reflect on how he let himself be swayed by a young hostess. After the trouble subsided, I asked my husband, "Hey, do you get approached by young girls at nightclubs too?" I brought up the topic from the wedding, a bit mischievously. "Of course not." He laughed it off, but he didn't seem entirely unflustered. Being a company president, he has money, and though slightly aged, he's still reasonably handsome. Undoubtedly, he's attractive. If I ever cheated, just thinking about what the young guys at the company would say, is scary enough. Still, with men, you never know what might happen anytime, anywhere. Now that our son is independent and we're 44 and 50, maybe it's time to spruce up and add a bit of sexy appeal to relive our newlywed days.